All right, picking up where we left off, we've got some little fields here. They accept input, but when we hit that button, there was a problem. And one of the things that we can see is if you look at your terminal from where your app was running, you can see that everything up until, at least for me, this is where my application gave me that error. Every other line that of activity here involved a get, whether it was getting the initial URL or getting that form, and then my forms, and then afterwards hitting back the 404 and the 405 errors. All right. But in the last, that problem, instead, what was attempted was what's called a post method. So there's different kinds of things that can happen with requests. Like we could make a get or we could make a post. So we have to specify some things in order to accept these kind of input posting requests in our application. Namely, we have to specify that the methods that we're going to allow are going to be both post and get. All right, and then what we'll do is if the method is a post, we will we'll accept we'll take in the arguments from the posting and return, and now that we're using templates, we'll return a template that accepts those arguments. And otherwise we'll just do this. If it's not a post request, if we haven't hit that button yet, we just want to operate like normal. We went to this this URL and we got the form. Okay, it's only after we hit that button. So if we hit that button is if request dot method is post. Then we'll say name is request form get, and we'll get name, and mood similarly request form get mood. All right, so that's kind of once we hit that button, now we grab that information, and what we'll do is we'll render a different template, and I'll call it submitted.html. So I need to come into my templates and make a submitted. And actually, I'm going to pass this two arguments, okay? So let's make a little header and say submitted. And then we can just print the name and the mood. All right, we'll just keep it simple. So back in the submitted, we'll have to pass those two variables. So name will equal name, mood will equal mood. Okay, save that, head back to our form, and now if I submit, I get my submitted HTML. All right, again, I can go, if I go to forms, I get the input fields, and then I can write something in here. Steve's in a nasty mood, and you submit it, and again, like, you can just continue over and over again. All right, but once you hit that submit button, you make a post, and you see that we can actually, there's two ways that you can write these request retrieval methods. This way, using parentheses will accept null values. There is a way to, just with brackets, like the dictionary kind of syntax, if you use that, it won't accept an empty value, depending on whether or not you care about requiring fields to be used or not. All right, so that's now the big idea is that we can actually handle form requests like this. All right, and this is really how we want to be presenting that, right? It's much easier to use than the URL arguments, especially from a user's perspective.